You're listening to the Plane Talking UK podcast, the UK-based podcast written by a passenger for anyone. And here are your hosts, Carl Stebbings and Matt Smith.
Well, hello and welcome to episode number 133 of the Plane Talking UK podcast. I'm Carl Stebbings, and joining me in the spare room studio again this week is my co-host Matt Smith.
Hello, everyone. Episode 133. That's a really scary number, isn't it?
I know,
yes.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Oh,
so
dear.
it is the 7th of October, and the time is, well, it's 7:15. We're only
evening,
15 minutes late this week. Only
That's
15
very good
minutes
going,
late.
yeah, very
so
good
quite
going.
good, quite good. And a big welcome to everyone who has joined us in
A very
the
full chat room in
YouTube
both, yeah,
chat
absolutely.
room,
And Facebook.
also the Facebook chat room, because we are on both, which
Yes.
is kind of
Weird.
weird.
Yes.
So hello to everyone in the
It's
chat room.
because I like to give myself lots of new things to learn. So
Lots of-
I'm busy trying to work out how to do the whole Facebook Live thing. So it's quite cool. And so far, touch wood, it is working. So yes. So if you are on Facebook or on YouTube, both chat rooms are being monitored. So feel free to get your messages in, and any messages that we get, obviously we'll read them out during the show. Feel free to comment on the stories as we do every single week. That's it. So we've got lots of stories
to go through. We've got a few bits of military news, and we've also got one of the interviews that we took at the Sealing Air
Stuart,
Show
yes.
with Stuart, who is my instructor and who's also the guy that you all know in the chat room is the guy that flies the parachute plane at ALLl. I'm learning to fly at Beckles. So yeah, we've got the interview we done with him. And then that's
Something from Pilot Pip.
something. Oh, we've got a segment from Pip.
Yeah.
We've actually got a segment from Pip this week, which is quite good.
Yeah.
So, which is all about takeoffs. It's all about takeoffs this
Not
week.
landings.
Not
then.
landings.
No.
No.
Okay, good.
Do
Yeah.
you know what? Talking about landings, I was looking in Stuart's logbook
Yes.
yesterday at the flying school.
He doesn't land, does he? He
I know.
Sort of skims the ground and takes off
Well,
again.
I was looking at Stuart's logbook at the flying school. Apart from having, it was over 2,500. It was over 1,500 hours.
Bro, blimey.
I think it was 1,500 hours or something. He's got just under 4,500 takeoffs and landings
Wow.
logged in his
Yeah, because he's not actually in the air very long each time,
No,
is he? So he's
no.
literally taking off and landing,
Yeah.
off and landing. I mean,
It's amazing. His logbook is huge.
Yeah, I can
stuff.
imagine,
It's massive.
I'm amazed though. Is there not a digital equivalent these days? I mean, I'm just sort of surprised that it's all still paper based. If you see what I mean,
it is
It's-
paper based, so predominantly. But yeah, it just amazed me. I thought, my God, that's a lot of landings.
It is a lot of landings and takeoffs.
And takeoffs.
Yes,
yeah.
because with every takeoff there has to be a landing, so
I know.
it must be the same.
So greetings, as I said, to everyone in the chat room who's joined us for the show.
Do you want to whiz through who we've got in the chat room before we start?
We have got. If I miss anyone out, I apologise now. We've got the legend that is Neville Bounds.
The legend.
Mariana P. Main Man Micah, Benjamin Todd, Myla's in the chat room, Shortbacker's in the chat room, Tony S, Ray Davis,
Ray
Pilot Pip.
Davis is actually multitasking because he's in the Facebook chat room as well.
Liz Piper, I'll just
As is
scrolling
Neville,
down.
yes.
Owen is in the chat room as
Yep.
well. Paul Tricker is in the chat room as well. Just scrolling
Tony
down.
S.
Abu one. Abu one.
Now, South
He's in
Africa, but
South
we didn't get his
Africa.
name, did
He's in
we?
South
His or her
Africa,
name.
yeah.
Sorry.
That's in South Africa. Ray Davis is in the chat room as well. Just still scrolling. Dan Hannington is in the chat room, our resident photographer.
He's been missing for a little while, actually.
Yeah, he
yes.
has.
Where is your excuse note, sir?
I don't know, where is your... Glenn Towler is in the chat room as well. And there's people sort of nipping in and out. Dr. Steph is in the chat room as well.
Yes, now she's got something very important
Barbara
going on this weekend.
Barbara's in the chat room.
Barbara.
Hi,
Hello, Barbara. Yes. Dr. Steph's got something very important going on this weekend, I think, because it is her
Oh,
marathon.
and Jennifer. Our guest from a few weeks back.
Indeed,
Jennifer.
yes, from last week, yes.
Yeah, Dr. Steph's got something very important going on, and that's her marathon that she's doing for charity.
Yeah.
We did mention that, and we put the links in the show notes, didn't we? It's on the show notes on YouTube. I think with the link.
Okay.
I think with the link we put on there.
I'll double check.
To sponsor, because we did. Me and Matt put a little bit of sponsorship money towards Steph for her achievement that she's going to obviously breeze through.
Mentally. Well, of course,
weekend
absolutely.
because,
Yes.
Steph does 1,000 miles a day.
Yes,
So
and
that
that's
should be
in
fine.
between eating chicken nuggets, I should stress.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I wonder if she eats chicken nuggets en route.
Possibly. Perhaps she has them liquefied in a.
Oh, that sounds horrific.
That's
really nasty.
She should actually. ALLl should really technically fly out there to be with her, Captain ALLl.
What feeding her chicken nuggets while she runs around.
We have got some housekeeping to do this week.
We do. Okay.
As it's it's the beginning of the month.
Yes, it is. It's the first show of the month.
There we go. That's a bit better. That's a bit quiet.
Yeah, it's not quite so deafening. Yes.
Deafened everyone now.
Yeah, indeed.
So with that music then, it is obviously the Patreon fund. And we're going to say a big thank you to all our Patreon donators who donate to the show each month.
I can't possibly talk. I'm too busy grooving.
He's grooving. So we're going to go through our awesome Patreon donators. Starting off, Dr. Steph, Jeff Newman. Turn that down a bit more. There we go. Jeff Newman, Ray Williams, Adrian Meacham, Captain ALLl, and Schutbacher as well. Philip Leib, York Mola, Andy Hopper, Evan Shue, Jenny Parkinson in Rome, Ryan Harper, and the lovely Myla as well is also there on our Patreon donator list. So a massive thank you to all our Patreon donators and for the guys as well who have donated through PayPal. But if you want to donate to the show via Patreon, just take yourselves over to our website, www.planetalkinguk.com, and just click on the link and you can donate, well, anything, $1 or $2 or whatever, it doesn't matter. And if, obviously, for those of you who are learning to fly, such as myself, or you're buying a house or a new car, or you're planning on going on a sunny holiday somewhere, save your money and enjoy yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, but a big thank you to all those Patreon donators.
Very much appreciate
do appreciate it. And the money we finished paying for our banner.
Our banner,
this
yes,
month,
absolutely.
Our PTUK
I have to say, we were talking about this beforehand. Actually, one of the things that has taken us by surprise is the whole Brexit thing has had such an amazing effect on the. Oh, hello.
There
sorry,
we go.
thank you. Oh, that was a bit of a car crash.
I know.
You're a
Sorry.
DJ, really?
I'm trying to use a touch screen here.
Honestly, but what's taken me really by surprise, obviously, with the whole Brexit thing, the effect it's had on the pound versus the dollar.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh blimey, it's really had quite a detrimental effect, isn't it? Really on the old
everything.
The exchange rate is not friendly.
I've just read in the chat room what Paul Tricker's put about them. This music is bordering on pornographic.
It is, yes, yes, it is. It's smoking jacket, pipe, and slippers. You see, that's what it is. One needs to be very, very relaxed.
It's the Hugh Hefner music. I think that's what we call it.
Is it right? Okay. Yes.
So, right, that's a bit of housework done. We're going to start the show then, as we do each week.
I suppose you want me to press some buttons.
Well, that would be good.
Okay, sorry. I'm chatting in the.
Oh, right, she's
Facebook
chatting it.
chat.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Yes. All right. I'll do what I'm supposed to do. Shall I?
So we're going to start the show then, as we do each week, with our rundown of the weekly news from around the world and the UK. So, if you're ready, Matt.
Do I look like I'm ready?
No, not really.
Okay.
Let's go. So kicking off this week's first news story, this one is on our local paper here, news site, on the Dis Express site. And it's some sad news that was actually from last weekend on Sunday. It's something close to home, and it affected someone who we all know about in the area and who flies in the area. You probably would have heard us mentioning him on the show at various points during the year because he flies over here in a P-51 Mustang. But the headline, Hardwick plane crash investigation into accident could take some months. This is regarding a crash that happened last Sunday here, just not too far from us at Hardwick Airfield. And sadly, the passenger of the aircraft, an 80-year-old passenger who's not yet been named, died unfortunately in the accident. The pilot who is quite well known in the area, Morris Hammond, who is from the village of Eye, is being cared for at the Norfolk and Norwich University Hospital, which is just a few minutes up the road from where we are here. And a spokesman for the AAIB, or the Air Accident Investigation Bureau, said that the investigators arrived on the site on Sunday when they began the process of gathering evidence. And on Wednesday, they were planning on taking the wreckage to the facility in Farnborough, where the detailed examination will be carried out on the wreckage. It involved Mr. Hammond's P-51D Mustang named Janie, and it's among a fleet of vintage aircraft that he owns. Collectively called Hardwick Warbirds, the fleet includes 2 Mustangs, 1 Texan, 1 Oster, and a Stearman. They were all built in the 1940s during Second World War, and Janie was one of a batch of 10 planes constructed by North American Aviation in Dallas, Texas in 1945. It was shipped to New Zealand in August that year and based at Hobsonville in Auckland, where it was used by the New Zealand Air Force until 1955. Mr. Hammond brought the plane in 1997 and brought it back to the UK for a complete restoration, which took 4.5 years. Its first flight in civilian operation took place in 2001. The Mustang, a vintage model from the Second World War, is thought to have been valued at between £1 and £1.5 million. Obviously, it's very sad indeed about the the passenger who died in the crash. Very unfortunate indeed. But obviously, our thoughts all go out to not only him but also to Morris Hammond as well, because he's quite a well-loved pilot in the area, and he puts on some fantastic displays in the air over where we live here, in the village where we live. And obviously everyone who listens to the show will know that the Mustang, P-51 Mustang, has one heck of a noise when diving. And it's sad news, and it's such a shame. Obviously this has happened, and obviously investigation will be taken place by the AAIB, and hopefully they'll get to the bottom of what exactly happened last Sunday. But sad news. So moving on to the next story.
Indeed, yes, the next story. This is with me.
This is something a bit more special for Matt. It's not a Ryanair story, though. I will have to point out that again this week I've neglected to give you a Ryanair story.
I'm sure that will be corrected at some point.
But it's good. Are you ready for this, people?
Okay, yes, okay. So this is on the Metro website, metro.co.uk, and the headline is, Airline introduces child-free zones on all its flights. An airline has managed to make a lot of people's dreams come true and seriously anger a lot of others, all in one fell swoop. They're introducing child-free zones on their planes. Indian budget carrier Indigo has adopted a quiet zone policy for its premium seats, meaning that children under the age of 12 aren't allowed to sit in those areas. Judging from the general reaction to this announcement, you're either like this right now, which I shall just pop up on the screen, which is basically a lady drinking champagne out of a shoe and dancing, or like this, which is a crying baby. Unsurprisingly, the idea has gone down well, very well, in fact, with the frequent flyers, who are people who don't have children, and pretty much anyone who's had to sit through a long-haul flight with a baby screaming beside them or a kid kicking the back of their seat, which we're guessing is most people who have ever been on an aeroplane, which is perhaps a little unfair, but we'll gloss over that. So yes, but there's also been a massive backlash to the announcement, mainly from parents who resent being made to feel like they're not welcome on flights with their kids. The policy is discriminatory. Somebody from Prune in Western India told the Hindu, whichever this told this Indian newspaper, and people online have been complaining too, although they are definitely outnumbered by those in favour of quiet, child-free flights. In a statement, the airline said, keeping in mind the comfort and convenience of all passengers, row numbers 1 to 4 and 11 to 14 are generally kept as quiet zones in Indigo flights. These zones have been created for business travellers who prefer to use the quiet time to do their work.
childless sections of aircraft.
I mean,
it's funny. I think it's brilliant.
I can kind of see. Why they're doing it, but yeah, I'm the backlash thing.
I can't see every airline adopting this thing where they have a section just free of children. Would I pay to sit in that section? I don't know. I think. Sorry about that. That was a notification again.
I told you to turn those off, and you did. How rude! Honestly, you can't get the stuff.
Would I pay to sit in a set? If I was
look
on,
at you trying to put it back on message.
If I was on a flight that going to New Zealand, which is
a long
20 or 24 odd hours. Yeah. Would I want to sit next to a screaming baby for 24 hours?
The baby is not likely to scream continuously
for
24 hours.
But would I? I don't know. It's a tough one.
But they have the right to travel with their mum and dad, and I mean, you think you've got a very, very small child, where ear pressures and things are not equalising as well as they do for you and me. Hello, what's going on there?
Neville Bounds, you are such a funny man.
Is he?
BA,
oh yes, I like that. Yes,
BA are planning a Carlos-free zone starting tomorrow.
Excellent.
Very
I think
funny,
that's highly
Neville.
recommended. Mm-hmm. Yes, I think.
Don't
that's a
you
great
laugh, Dr. Steph. Don't you laugh.
So see, Owens actually said, "See, the thing is that this airline uses A320, so it really doesn't matter where you sit. You're going to hear the kids."
True.
That's a good point. Yes, absolutely.
Because obviously we all know the A320s are made out of the Airbus are made out of paper, mache, and stuff. So Boeing are obviously made out of proper, proper stuff.
Yes. Okay.
Hi,
yes.
Captain Al.
Yes. Yeah. Whatever. No. So I mean, what I'm saying really is, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't particularly want to be on a flight where somebody is absolutely screaming their heads off and they're sort of very distressed about the whole experience. But you have to accept that the poor little kid won't have any idea what's going on. They won't know why their ears are hurting because of the extreme pressure changes and all that kind of thing.
I must admit, I don't agree with with parents who travel with very, very young babies. I think that's not very nice.
Right.
Not just because of the scream, but obviously because of
I have to say, I feel I would. I think we covered this like last week or the week before. I'd feel much more comfortable with the fact, like you do in a car, where you have to. I don't like the idea of them being sort of held in their arms. Do you know what I mean? Because
Owens put Boeing still haven't found a way to soundproof children.
Indeed. I tell you what, if somebody could patent pen that, they would make a small fortune.
Tony S in the chat room has put, you can't hear screaming kids on a 737 due to the ambient noise. I love
Is
that.
Is that what it's called?
I know.
Okay.
So moving on to the next story.
Yes, I think we should move on now before we all get sued.
Moving on to the next story. This one is on this is an interesting website, the DW.com website. Or
DW, made for minds.
And the headline, this was
now,
such
this
a
made
weird
me laugh.
story
Yeah,
when
yeah,
I found this one.
Laugh.
See what you think of this one, guys. The headline, airline TUI Fly cancels flights after all crews call in sick. German carrier TUI Fly has cancelled around 98 flights scheduled for today. The cancellations occurred after all their flight crews called in sick on extremely short notice.
Oh.
The subsidiary tour operator TUI announced the cancellation today, and the affected flights included 49 departures from Germany, 49 return flights from various vacation destinations in Europe. Around 9,000 passengers will be impacted by today's cancellations, spokesman woman for the airline's parent company TUI said. TUI has chartered airplanes from other airlines in order to bring vacationers home from holiday resorts, and the company said that further cancellations could be expected over the next few days.
Wow.
Now, the carrier had initially stated that all 108 flights on Friday were cancelled. However, 10 flights will take place using rented aircraft and provisional crew. 4 flights will go to the Turkish resort city of Antalya, while the others will fly to Palma de Mallorca, and respective return journeys will also take place. Scheduled flight times are subject to disruption. All other flights from Germany, Austria and Switzerland scheduled for October the 7th are cancelled due to crew shortages, TUI announced on their website. The decision to cancel flights came after all of TUI's cabin crew and pilots called in sick. According to TUI, the crew gave extremely short notice to the airline, making it impossible to inform customers earlier and offer alternative plans. The airline has seen less severe disruptions in recent days, with 47 of Thursday's TUI flights cancelled due to crews reporting themselves sick. The mass crew call-offs come amidst rising concerns over the company's future and the future of its 2,400 employees. On Wednesday, the struggling German airline Air Berlin announced it would hold talks with TUI and the Abu Dhabi-based Etihad on possibly merging some of the company's business with TUI Fly. According to earlier statements from TUI, the spokesman, the collective bargaining agreements at TUI Fly, as well as the company's headquarters in Hanover, would not be endangered by the possible reorganisation. Oh dear. Calling in sick. And why can't everyone do that where I work? Call in sick.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It's just one of the... Can you imagine, though, because if they're all calling the same number, can you imagine the person on the end of the phone there busy taking the sort of like the sick notifications just thing? It's like you get... The phone goes and it's like, let me guess, you're phoning in sick. Yeah, you know, by the time you've had about 20 or 30 people making that phone call, you're immediately going to think, something's not right here.
Liz Piper's put some unhappy flight crews there. Yeah, it must be. Really
absolutely.
Unhappy.
So, I mean, why have they done this and not just called a strike? That's what I don't really understand.
Yeah,
because that's essentially what they've done unofficially, isn't it?
Kind of a group thing, you know. We'll all
Somebody's
do this.
obviously all sort of sat down together and decided, right, we're all going to phone in sick on that day.
So moving on to the next story.
Yes, the next story.
And, well, we've covered one of these stories every day, every episode for the last 2 or 3 episodes.
3 or 4 weeks.
So we
now,
may as well cover another one.
Why not? Absolutely. So left with the resident technical expert as always. This is on a random. It's the New York Times today. Ooh. Oh, we're reading from the New York Times. Oh, how very posh. Brace yourselves for terrible English, everyone. Southwest flight evacuated after Samsung phone catches fire, says airline. A Southwest Airlines flight scheduled to leave Louisville on Wednesday morning was evacuated on the runway after a passenger's Samsung cell phone caught fire. Passengers and the airline said. Southwest said in a statement that passengers and airline employees were taken off flight 994, which was scheduled to leave for Baltimore after a customer reported smoke emitting from a Samsung electronic device. The Vergy identified the passenger as Brian Green and his phone as a replacement Galaxy Note 7. That's worrying. A replacement Galaxy Note 7. A Samsung spokesman said in a statement on Wednesday that the company was unable to immediately confirm which device was involved in the episode. We are working with the authorities and Southwest now to recover the device and confirm the cause, the statement said. Once we have examined the device, we will have more information to share. The company, which is the world's largest smartphone maker, announced last month that it would replace 2.5 million of the handset of the smartphone model because of a flaw in the battery cell that will result in devices bursting into flames or exploding. Mr. Green told the newspaper that he had picked up the new phone on the 21st of September after the recall. The episode could be damaging for the company because the replacement devices were thought to be safe. The new models had been approved by the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission, which on Wednesday said it was investigating the episode. In a statement, the commission chairman said, this is Elliot Kay, encouraged owners of the smartphones to turn it off and immediately participate in the recall. He also said staff members had reached out to the Federal Aviation Administration, Samsung and Mr. Green, noting that the agency is moving really quickly to investigate this incident. Christine Sundman, 65, a retired teacher who was planning to return home to New Hampshire after visiting her daughter's family in Louisville, was one of the passengers evacuated from the flight. She said that a woman sitting near the phone's owner had told her that the device had just been powered down when it caught fire. The owner quickly dropped the device to the floor, Mrs. Sundman said in a phone interview. Mrs. Sundman said that she had been sitting in the 7th row of the plane and did not notice any commotion until a flight attendant rushed to the front to consult with her colleague. As they exchanged urgent whispers, Mrs. Sundman said, "I hear the words smoke." The two flight attendants went into the cockpit, Mrs. Sunman said, and within seconds the captain came out and calmly told passengers that the plane had to be evacuated. She said, "We did not need to use the loudspeaker to make his voice heard." The story goes on basically, but you get the gist. I wonder, if I'm brutally honest, I wonder if perhaps, because he said he bought it after the recall, whether it was perhaps a recalled phone that was missed. That's what I think. I think the new phone is safe because they have resolved the battery issue from the research that I did before we started this episode. And I think perhaps maybe this. I think this is going to turn out that the serial number was actually for a handset that should have been recalled and hadn't.
Yeah.
If I'm honest. But I mean, at the end of the day, there is a very serious fault there, and until all of the recalls have taken place, that you are going to have this risk. So seriously,
are these batteries fixed in these phones? These aren't removable batteries?
They aren't removable. They've got to go back to the factory to be changed. Yeah,
that's a shame because I think I prefer the old, because I mean the HTC that I've got. The HTC M8 that I've got here is you can't take the battery out.
No,
of that.
It's sealed. Yeah,
it's sealed.
Same with this. I mean, this here is my brand new phone.
That's got a new phone.
If anybody who follows me on Facebook will know, I've had a bit of a rough time of it of late. Let's be honest. But look, it's actually doing the Facebook thing. Look, you can see there. But
whereas this one, this cheap and cheerful one I got with the dual SIM one, this one you can take the battery out of. You can actually take the battery out and put.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just one of those things, but. There is I can see why they're sealed, because you can use less. Basically, it doesn't have to be. The battery can be sort of broken up and put into several parts of the phone to make them slimmer and all that kind of thing. I get that. But,
Dan Hannington's put that when he flew the other week, cabin crew made specific reference to the Samsung Galaxy Note 7 over the PA and said it must remain off for the entirety of the flight.
Yep, absolutely. Although, if this story is to be go by, that doesn't necessarily guarantee that it isn't going to burst into flames.
Yeah, I mean, when we fly Sunday, I'll be taking my generic dual SIM phone. I shall turn it off before we fly anyway.
Yeah.
I shan't be having it on and charging or anything like that. So. But what about these battery packs, Matt? This one here.
Again, it depends on the quality. I mean, and I think it was EE that were sending out free battery packs to their customers.
Yeah, I remember you saying
and they had
before,
to. I think it was last week we were talking about, and they were recalled again for a similar issue where they were being charged up. And as I said last week, I mean, I was doing a trip to Cadbury World in Birmingham with a load of school kids, and they had one of these EE small battery packs, and it did sort of start smoking and smouldering. Thankfully, just before we left, so I was able to sort of dispose of the unit and sort of put it out of harm's way.
Actually, Owen in the chat room, he's obviously, because Owen works for Harpjet.
Yep.
And he's just saying it was supposed to tell the people with the Note 7 they can't use it. I just wonder if that's a sort of something that happens with Harpjet as well. They have to tell
I think, to be honest, it's more or less happening with every single airline, isn't it? Every single carrier basically saying that. I mean, it is a serious issue, but I'm more inclined to think that actually, because they have resolved the issue, because it wasn't all Galaxy Note 7s. That is something that it was only ones with certain serial numbers that had a certain type of battery from a different manufacturer to the other one. So it's only a certain manufacturer of the batteries. Tricky one really. I think it's that. I think it is literally that.
I'll stick with my good old Android phone.
Yeah.
With
they
HTC.
are Android, aren't they?
No, I'll stick with my good old HTC.
HTC, okay.
So we'll move on to the next story, and this one is on the mothership s.sg website, and this is what it's all about. Actually, a suitcase that's had a bit of unfortunate luck.
Suitcase that's had unfortunate luck.
So a Singapore woman gets luggage absolutely crushed during a flight, and the airline offers $15 as a goodwill gesture.
Steady.
Which in this current climate is not a lot in UK pounds.
No, especially, I was going to say, especially if you're converting it.
So Facebook user Jiang Ying posted a Facebook post recounting her experience with the KLM Royal Dutch Airlines.
No.
In the post, she detailed what had happened to her luggage and the steps the airline took or didn't take in the aftermath. And we've got a picture here of the suitcase, which
it's not really a suitcase. I'm not going to. I mean, that is not that is the remnants and remains of a suitcase. If you are listening to the podcast and you want to have a look at this picture, obviously take yourself to mothership.sg and search for Spore. Well, it's Spore, SPOR, woman gets luggage absolutely crushed, and you'll be able to see that picture. But yes, there's not a lot left of that. Let's be honest.
So the story goes on. So so her Facebook post that she put on said that it went along the lines of worst airline ever. This is the level of service and recovery that you can expect. Crushed my baggage, promised to replace, compensate within 24 hours, failed to deliver their promise and leave helpless and stranded. No response from the airline until 1 week later. Expects your crushed luggage. Expects you to lug your crushed luggage back home so they can conduct a thorough investigation. Takes 1 week to reply every time, and don't expect any human touch because you're dealing with a website with feedback forms and no replies from KLM. Conclusion: offers to pay $15 as a goodwill gesture, and hopes it goes towards restoring your confidence in the airline.
Ooh, yes,
imagine, it goes on to say, imagine what luggage you can buy with $15 at this day and age. Pray hard that your luggage reaches your destination in one piece. Otherwise, good luck to your KLM passengers.
Now, Tony S has actually said in the chat. Sorry to interrupt, but Tony S in the chat room has actually said that a good point here is it actually KLM have their own baggage handlers, or is this like a sort of Swissport type sort of second carrier type thing?
I have no idea. And then the story. I mean, the story it goes on that obviously the KLM did respond to KLM Singapore actually responded to her messages on Facebook. And she's obviously got to get in touch with customer care and stuff, and follow a e-complaints customer care form with KLM online. And that's basically as far as the story goes on here. If you want to catch up with what goes on Facebook, if you go on to this mothership.sg website, you can see what goes on there.
You do really find some random websites.
But I mean, that's definitely damaged.
Yes, I just don't
wouldn't
think
be happy.
£15 is not enough, or $15. So it's not even £15, is it? It's about £9.
I don't know. I'm going to have a quick look because I've got the currency converter on here.
Yeah, that's because somebody's going on holiday on the weekend, ladies and gentlemen.
$15 at today's currency conversion rates equates to 12 quid. 12 English pounds.
That's more than I thought they'd get. I won't lie.
Which is not good.
That's not bad.
Or 13 euros for our European friends. 13 euros.
Fantastic.
That equates to, which I don't think you'd be able to even buy a laptop case for that price, let alone a suitcase.
I bought a Dunlop one from the factory shop for a tenner.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I in fact, it's over there. Look, I can show you what a tenner will buy you. In fact, look, here we go.
Oh, he's gonna show you.
No,
his
he's not.
laptop.
He can't reach.
No, he can't reach. His headphones are pulling his head off.
See, this cost me a tenner.
Oh, there we go. I mean, that's quite good. It's got wheels.
It's a good model. It's got it's got Dunlop written on it. That was a tenner from the factory shop, everyone. Not that I'm advertising factory shop or anything.
That's actually not too bad.
Oh, yeah, that was a little treat for you, all my bingo wings, ladies and gentlemen. That was nice too, wasn't it? Yeah.
But anyway, so there we go. We'll leave that story as it is, and we'll move on to the next story, which is on the Mail Online site. This one is for you.
Oh, is it me again?
Yeah.
Ooh. Hello. Oh, here we go. So this is the Mail Online website, so it's dailymail.co.uk, and if it's in the Daily Mail, it must be true. And the headline goes, dramatic moment, Qantas jet clips another aircraft on the runway while preparing to take off in Western Australia. This is not the news that any nervous flyer like myself wants to hear. 2 jets have been grounded after they clipped tail fins. While one was preparing to take off at an airport in Western Australia. A Qantas jet bound for Perth was making its way to the runway at
Paraburdu.
I'm very, very sorry, Australian listeners.
Paraburdu.
Yes.
Paraburdu?
Somebody could tell me how they were going to do that. So a Qantas jet bound for Perth was making its way to the runway at Paraburdu Airport at around 4:30 in the afternoon. And sorry, Carlos keeps moving my mouse. That's
sorry.
why I catch on Wednesday when it came into contact with a network aviation plane, which is owned by the same company. Around 70 travellers were forced to disembark while engineers disentangled the aircraft and filmed the moments after the collision. We should have...
There's a few pictures there. And I don't think we won't risk playing the video because something might happen there. But there are some pictures there that Matt can put up on the screen. Of,
indeed. We'll do that now because, as I say, it's in trouble when I'm reading it. Yeah, so it's
definitely
clipped the tail fin, hasn't it? And we've got another picture here from a slightly different angle. If I just scroll that up a little bit, he says overshooting the... There we go. Yeah, so there's from another side. So it's definitely come in contact, isn't it? It's not good, is it? Really. So while a Qantas spokesman claimed the aircraft did not actually collide, images and footage taken from the scene seem to suggest otherwise. The images appear to show the rear stabilising fins on the left-hand side touching each other, while the aircraft, both Boeing 717s, sit on the tarmac. Will Snaith, a miner, told the Western Australia, we were feeling the brakes. It was like a couple of jerks, but we thought it was just testing the brakes. We saw this guy jumping up and down outside the window, going stop, stop, stop. The pilot taxied left, and this guy's jumping around, waving his arms, and we're thinking, mate, where's your radio? Probably a good point. We watched the wing go underneath the tail of the other one, but it was at the back of the plane that touched. From what I'm looking at, it touched anyway. The airport is a major transport hub for miners working in pits nearby and provides much-needed link to cities elsewhere in Australia. But at least 3 flights out of the airport have been cancelled as of Wednesday evening, with passengers forced to delay until the following day. So, yes, I mean, certainly those pictures would indicate, and eyewitness reports would indicate that they did actually... sort of touch each other, which is
it was it didn't look too good. I watched the video early today. The video is on the website. You can actually watch it. I don't know quite how they got the video, but you can actually watch the video of what actually happened.
Liz Piper has called it the Daily Fail. That's probably a very appropriate thing. Yeah. Good work on the pronunciation there. As
but I have to point out, I have to say that on the picture, which has got the clipping of the 2 tails here. It looks to be lots of room there. Quite a lot of room. So someone's obviously made a big faux pas here.
Yes, indeed. Quite spacious. Around. Yeah, absolutely. Jen Iffer is saying that duct tape could fix this too. Fix your bag, fix your planes. Good point.
Good point, Jen.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Miler's quite rightly said, is the solution for everything.
Yeah.
Yes, and if it sticks and it shouldn't, then WD-40. Owen has said, which again is another excellent.
Jen, sponsored by duct tape. It's good. Sounds good.
Okay, moving on.
Moving on to the next story on the Manchester Evening News. This one, and
yes. Now this actually made the radio for a change.
Really?
Yeah, it did. Yeah. In fact, no. Actually, there was an altercation on a. Let me read the story, and I'll yeah.
So the headline: in Jet 2 plane forced to return to the airport with technical fault for a 4th time. So an aircraft on its way to Lanzarote on Thursday, yesterday this was forced to land again at Manchester Airport. The problem aircraft was forced to return to Manchester Airport due to a technical fault for the 4th time. The Jet2.com aircraft, a Boeing 757-200. Right, Matt, can you just pop that photo up on the screen at the moment?
Oh, no, really?
Of this aircraft, this 757-200. Just put that there just for a minute, just so our YouTube viewers can see this 757-200 here. Just leave that there for a second. Okay, we'll carry on the story. And so this aircraft was on its way to Lanzarote, and when it circled around St Helens and Wigan before making a return to Manchester Airport. The captain reportedly told passengers they had been forced to return to the airport due to a problem with the flaps. A Jet2.com spokesman said the plane had been diverted back to the base as a precautionary measure after a fault indication. Passengers were stuck on the grounded aircraft for more than 2 hours while they waited for a replacement aircraft. One passenger on the flight LS891, who asked not to be named, said the captain told us there was a problem with the flaps and that they had to land again. Everyone was very calm, although we had to wait for hours until the replacement aircraft was ready. I just couldn't believe it. It was the same plane that had the problems before. But it was the same aircraft again, registration Golf Lima Sierra Alpha Golf, that had issues with its landing gear and had to return to the airport 3 other times in the past 5 weeks. On October the 2nd, the same aircraft was forced to return to the airport due to a technical fault. And then on September the 7th, a flight on its way to Rhodes was forced to circle around Manchester Airport for 90 minutes because of a technical fault. The aircraft reportedly experienced an issue with landing gear and was placed in a holding pattern at 8,000 feet. The Boeing 757-200 continued to circle the airport for an hour and a half, burning fuel until it was light enough to land. Then just 2 days later, the aircraft was sent to fly to Faro, but encountered a holding pattern after departure. It circled in the air for around 30 minutes and then was forced to return. The MEN has asked Jet2.com whether or Manchester Evening News has asked Jet2.com whether they plan to use the aircraft in the future. A Jet2.com spokesperson said that our Jet2.com flight from Manchester to Lanzarote was diverted back to the base as a precautionary measure after a fault indication. The aircraft landed safely without incident and passengers will be transferred onto a replacement aircraft. We'd like to apologise to all our customers for this delay. However, their safety is our absolute priority. Now I'm just going to pop up again this picture of this 757-200 just in case you missed it at the start of the news story. There we are. There's that lovely 757-200 on the screen. There we go. Thank you for that, Matt. Now, did anyone spot it in the chat room? Let's have a look. Let's just go back through the chat room here to see if anyone...
Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening to the podcast, that will make absolutely no sense to you, and for that I apologise. But
well done to Matty Fab, who spotted the slight faux pas that the Manchester Evening News made, and Jonathan Warner as well. Well done, Jonathan. and to everyone else who spotted the slight... faux pas there of the story. But anyway, so we go back to the story at hand. So it, I mean, it's one of those. It was just a bad week, a bad month for the aircraft. I think.
Absolutely.
Obviously, nothing or horrible happened. But I mean, these aircraft are old, Matt. To be fair, the aircraft that Jet2 are using, the 757-200s, you know, they're old stuff now. But I mean, they're damn good workhorses still. So, you know, I'm sure Jet2 will sort them out.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next story. This is for you, Matt, and this is a story specially for Captain ALLl, if you're listening.
Okay, so this is the Reuters website, Reuters.com, and the headline is Airbus net orders fall as it draws line under Kingfisher failure. Now, what's the Kingfisher failure?
They're a low-cost airline in India.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. So Airbus, which is air.pa, sold 49 jets in September, but saw its net orders for the year knocked back by the cancellation of jets ordered by India's Kingfisher Airlines. Toulouse-based Airbus cancelled 82 outstanding orders for jets for Kingfisher and its Kingfisher Red subsidiary, which had been amongst its most high-profile customers until the airline, owned by drinks tycoon, a name I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce, collapsed under large debts. Airbus said on Thursday it had won 566 aircraft orders in the first 9 months of the year, but the net total fell to 380 from 438 a month earlier, after 107 cancellations for Kingfisher. US plane maker Boeing, yay, if it ain't Boeing, we ain't going, sold 460 jets between January and October, or a net total of 380, leaving the transatlantic rivals neck and neck after adjusting for calculations. Although some analysts have criticised Airbus for clinging to orders for jets that won't be delivered, it had argued until now that leaving the commitments in place could help a potential buyer rescue Kingfisher, but prospects of a bailout have faded. Airbus had already withdrawn a pledge to supply A380. We'll try that again. Airbus had already withdrawn a pledge to supply A380s and A350 long-haul jets to Kingfisher in 2014. Although, also in September, Airbus delivered 62 aircraft, including 8 of its A320neo jets and 5 A350s, 2 models that have faced delays recently over shortages of parts. Last month's deliveries bringing the total for the year so far to 462 aircraft.
Oi, Jonathan Warner.
Why? What's the matter?
He put Boeing.
He does that a lot.
I know he does.
Yeah,
Terrible.
It's very funny. Yes.
So good news then for Airbus. Not.
Well,
It's
but
a
they're
shame.
neck and neck, so it's still, it's still not bad news. But I mean, we say this every single week, don't we? We get one story where Boeing are ahead, and then 2 weeks later or a month later, we read a story where Airbus are ahead of Boeing, and vice versa. It's just, they're the two big players, aren't they? Neither of them are going to be in any particular trouble, are they?
No, Fly Kingfisher. They were founded in 2003, commenced operations in 2005.
Hang on, I've just got to see if I can get this right. You've had a reply from Mr. Warner.
Oh, okay, very good.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Warner.
I hope I did that justice, Mr. Warner.
Yeah, their Kingfisher had Fly Kingfisher. They had a nice Kingfisher logo on their aircraft. But
really?
Yeah.
Is that because they were a Kingfisher airline?
That's right. Yeah,
Okay.
they had their hub at Bengaluru International Airport.
Easy for you to say.
I know.
That's what she said.
I know. Right, so moving on to the next story, and spot on, Matt. What? Mr. Warner, spopped on, Matt.
Stop it. Move on.
So
He's got Tourette's on his keyboard.
I know,
That's fine.
I
It's
know.
fine.
Bless
Moving
him.
on. Yeah.
So the next story is on, and we've got a picture what Matt will put up
have
in
we?
a moment.
Okay.
moment.
There you
This next story, there we go, is on the Australian Business Traveller website. And, oh my God, that looks nice.
It does.
And the headline is Swiss to upgrade Airbus A340s with new first business class. So the story, out with the old and in with the new for Swiss Airbus A340s, with the big 4-engine jet set to receive a tip-to-tail upgrade from first class and business class through to economy. Although Swiss has been replacing the A340s with factory-fresh Boeing 777-300ER jets, with a 10th now in order for delivery in 2018, the airline will retain 5 A340s in its long-range international fleet. Those 5 jets will be upgraded throughout 2018 to largely bring them up to Swiss 777 spec. The new first-class cabin will be closely modelled on that of the 777-300ER, the airline says. This will see the current and still quite decent A340 first-class suites making their way for these more private and better appointed suites. I'm just going to go down to... here we go. So this will include throne seats as well, as in King's Throne suites. Down in the back of the Airbus and Economy, Swiss says it will install all new types of seats. The in-flight entertainment system will also be ripped out and replaced by that of the 777, with in-flight internet also being installed and the retrofit. Swiss will also upgrade its 14 Airbus A330s for sky-high Wi-Fi over the coming 6 months, with the project stated for completion by northern spring. And if we go back up here, Matt, we've got some pictures here
have we? Okay,
of the said cabin here. We pop that one on there first. That looks rather nice.
It does look quite spacious, doesn't it? You've got your little lamp and everything. I like it.
And we'll go for, here we go. This that looks lovely.
Oh, now I'm hungry.
So we, that's, see the chair each side there. You can sort of call your friend round for tea and biscuits while you're flying, which is quite nice.
Right. Yes.
We've got another one here. This is, I'm guessing this is the business class section, this one.
Wow, what on earth is that? Oh, are they little angle poised lights?
Yeah, little angle poised lights that you can, Emirates have a similar kind of style.
Oh, do they?
Business class.
Yeah, I like that. With your multi
plugs and stuff.
Yeah, your multi-country plug sort of thing for your laptop or tablet or whatever.
There we go. There's another. God, they do look rather nice, don't they?
Yeah.
But gone with the brown though. It's kind of not. I thought they'd gone a bit of a brighter colour. I suppose.
I don't dislike it.
Oh yeah, they do lie flat. Look, there we go. Lie flat beds. Look,
that looks good to
with
me.
the control panel and stuff. So Swiss, I mean, that's an airline I haven't flown on before, Swiss Airlines, but they do look awfully nice.
I like the headphones.
Yeah, I think you'll find a lot of the airlines now, Matt, have in business class and first class have the noise cancelling headphones.
All right, so you can sort of shut the world
out completely, which is kind of nice. I know BA do that in their business and first class. They have the noise cancelling headphones, which is nice. So moving on to the next story, and this one is for Matt.
Is it? Right, okay. Let me concentrate. And it is Airwise so it's news.airwise.com.
Special story for Miami Rick, this one.
Right, okay, good. October the 6th is when this was released, and the headline is Boeing beating Airbus in 2016 deliveries. Indeed, which is kind of what we just covered, but Boeing delivered 563 commercial aircraft in the first 3 quarters of 2016, easily beating Airbus's total of 462 for the period. During the 3rd quarter, Boeing delivered 188 aircraft, down from 199 in the same period a year ago. Of the total, there were 120 737s, 22 777s, and 36 787 deliveries. There were only 5 747 deliveries as demand continues to slump for large 4-engined aircraft. In comparison, Airbus delivered 462 commercial aircraft to the end of September. That included 380 A320 family aircraft and 26 A350s and 16 A380s.
Plenty of orders in for Boeing, for sure.
Well, yeah, but they're really not that far behind.
I'll tell you who is going to get some new Boeing aircraft soon.
Oh, no.
Mr. Owen there in the chat room. Ryanair. They've got their new Boeings coming soon online.
Ah.
So he's going to have with Harpjet. Yeah, he's going to have his new jets coming soon.
Yeah.
And also, I'll tell you who has got some jets, new jets on order as well. Royal Jet as well have a few new jets on order as well, which is good news. Yeah.
Fantastic. Good
So
news.
moving on to the next story. This one is on the... God, this is another website we haven't had before. Where do I find these?
I don't know. Although it's appropriate. We did have somebody in the chat room from Africa earlier. So,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
It was Africa.
It was South Africa.
It was South Africa.
South Africa, yeah. On the allafrica.com website, this one. And the headline, Ethiopian Airlines has proven it's the best. So Ethiopian Airlines is the longest-serving airline on the African continent. Below the airline's country manager, Abibi Angesa, explains why how the air carrier has survived such a long time. So Ethiopian Airlines is celebrating 70 years of existence. Ethiopian Airlines has had a long 70-year success journey from a humble beginning to a leading African aviation group. Throughout the past 7 decades, the airline has established itself as an adept in all facets of aviation services, technology, leadership, network expansion, and aviation mentoring. It has registered many successes in the aviation industry, introducing cutting-edge aviation technology and state-of-the-art aircraft from Africa's first jet aircraft in 1962, the first African Boeing 767 in 1984. Wow. The first African Boeing 777-200LR in 2010, and the first 787 Dreamliner in the world outside of Japan in 2012. And to the most advanced and latest world-class aircraft, the A350. It has also met its very basic version, bringing the Africa together and closer to the rest of the world. African cities are now much closer than any other time in aviation history, and it's truly a pan-African symbol. Currently, Ethiopian Airlines is the largest and most profitable and fastest growing African carrier with bright prospects. As per Vision 2025, Ethiopian will be a world-class African airline with a fleet size of more than 140 aircraft, flying 22 million passengers, airlifting 820,000 tons of cargo and flying more than 120 international and 26 domestic destinations, and also generating $10 billion in revenue and $1 billion net profit. I mean, they've done damn well, Ethiopian. And obviously they've got the Dreamliners, and they've got a bit of a mixed fleet, actually, Ethiopian, of Airbus and
I
Boeing.
never really understood that. it's sort of having mixed fleets.
We talk about it often. A lot of airlines do have mixed fleets of aircraft. Bigger airlines, obviously, they can afford to have the kind of mixed fleets.
Jennifer is saying that Ethiopian Airlines has actually flown cargo into the cargo airport where she works. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's good. It's I don't know. It's just I never really understand the mixed fleet thing, because you just sort of think, surely from a spares point of view alone, you're holding multiple. You've got to store multiple parts.
Actually, they.
I suppose it's not so bad if each hub only covers a certain aircraft, and then it's not so bad.
Going back a year or two, Ethiopian had one of their Dreamliners. I think it was either Heathrow or Gatwick. Had the fire at the. It was to do with. I think it was to do with the ELT, the emergency locator transmitter on the Dreamliner, which it caught fire and damaged the aircraft, but it was repaired and put back into service, and that was a Dreamliner. That's a few years ago. I think it's either 2 or 3 years ago that happened now.
Wow.
So moving on to the next story. This one is for you, Matt.
Yep. Okay, and the head. It's theweek.com is the website, and the week being the week.
I love this headline. I love this headline.
Oh no! Right, so the headline is Americans have now paid enough in baggage fees to buy a whole airline. The $25 thorn in your side every time you fly with a slightly larger than average suitcase is making airlines some serious bank. US airlines have collected a combined $26.2 billion in checked bag fees since 2007, when airlines first began charging such fees to offset the soaring cost of jet fuel. This is Thrillist reports. That's nearly enough to buy Delta, the most valuable airline in the US. And I'm so sorry, the website is playing up, so I'm struggling there to get it to move. But sorry, there we go. So since 2007. That's nearly enough to buy Delta, the most valuable airline in the US, which is worth just over $27 billion. Last year alone, airlines made $3.8 billion on checked luggage, which Thrillist points out is nearly equal to the city budget of Phoenix.
Wow.
That's quite frightening. Wow, and
that's money.
That's not just for baggage. That's not just for baggage fees, is it? That's for overweight baggage fees, and that's how they've made that money.
That is a heck of a lot of money. To be out, to have that money to be out, go and then buy your own airline with it as well.
Yeah, I don't think it's one person.
I know. It is all the airlines in total, but it just goes to show, don't it? The ancillary fees that go on top of a ticket price just add to
absolutely. They're expensive paninis.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So next story is on the breakingnews.ie website. And hold on. What's happened here? This is a Ryanair story.
Oh, what a shame. Never mind.
Thanks, Matt. That's very kind.
Always a pleasure, never a chore.
So the headline, this Ryanair... Oh, it feels weird reading a Ryanair story. It does, honestly.
I don't know what you mean.
The headline then, this Ryanair passenger was left with a €1,407 bill due to air traffic controller strike. This story came out on the 6th of October, this one. One Ryanair passenger has been refused compensation for his €1,407 trek home after he missed a Ryanair flight due to strike action. Frenchman Antoine Sabat was to travel from Lisbon to Brussels after a family holiday in Portugal with his wife and 2 children, but were unable to make it through security on time for their flight due to ongoing strike action by air traffic controllers. Antoine said they arrived at the airport 2 hours before their flight, which should have been adequate time to make it through security in all normal circumstances. However, they didn't make their flight, and the flight took off without them. Antoine said that his family received no notification of the strike action from the airline that could have warned them of the delay, unlike other airlines which issued an email to all their passengers. The Sabat family said that they went to Ryanair's ticket office at the airport and asked for another flight, and were told they would have to wait 4 days before they could travel.
4 days?
Mr. Sabah said his wife and himself both needed to get home for work, and the children were expected back at school, so they had to buy 4 tickets to Paris with another airline and then travel by train to Lille, where they live, in order to be home in time for their commitments. Antoine wrote to Ryanair for compensation, citing the lack of prior notification and strike action as reasons, but was told the company would not be offering him any compensation, not even for the original flight that he was unable to make. Antoine said that he is one of many passengers who were forced to make alternative arrangements for missing the flight. Antoine said that Ryanair website offers compensation for cancelled flights, or if a passenger is denied boarding, but does not specify the remedies available with regard to strike action. I understand that Ryanair is not responsible for this strike, but the company didn't inform its passengers on the day before to say to come to the airport earlier, he said. And at the airport, Ryanair didn't help us at all, and they closed the gate 45 minutes before the plane took off. They only proposed us another flight 4 days later. And yes, I'm not satisfied, he said, at their response, and they don't even offer a refund to the cost of the ticket of the aircraft that I could have taken. And also that I'm sure that hundreds of people are in the same situation as me. Probably very true. A statement from Ryanair said that over 175 customers were at the boarding gate on time to travel on the flight to Brussels. While we regret that Mr. Sabah missed the flight, this was his own responsibility, since the seats that were booked and operated empty in his absence. These are no grounds for compensation in this case. And he says, and the Ryanair says, please pass on our apologies to Mr. Sabah.
Excellent.
That's not very nice. I mean, at the very least, they should have been given a refund.
Have we got the right picture for the airplane that's mentioned?
Yeah, we have actually.
Yeah,
we can put one on the screen there. There we go. Just in case any of you.
This is how it should be reported. Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. There's a picture of it. That's actually, I think that's the Max. That one actually might be the Max.
Is it? Oh, the new one.
But no, it's a shame. I mean, if it's your fault that you turn up at the gate late because you've obviously been late getting to the airport, then yeah, fair enough. You should not get any money. But I think if you're the reason for your delay is because of strike action, then I think that's cause for a refund.
Yeah, I think so. Even if it's through a European fund rather than perhaps through the airline directly, because it certainly isn't the person who booked the ticket's fault that they weren't able to board their flight.
Goodbye, Dan. By the way, Dan's nipping off. He's off.
How rude.
He's got to go. Thanks, Dan. I'll try. I'll have a great Dreamliner experience, and I will take lots of photos.
Yeah,
Don't
absolutely.
Panic.
Yes. I expect to hear a full report in next week's show.
Oh, you will.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Absolutely. So yes, on to the final commercial story this week.
Where did you find this one, Matt?
I don't know. I was sent I don't know if I'm allowed to say where it came from. Am I?
It came from a loyal.
It came from
listener.
Somebody sent me a private message basically with a link in it, and it's from the irishtimes.com website, and the headline is "Airport Ambulance Driver Sues Over Ryanair Plane Near Miss." Driver is suing the Irish Aviation Authority
What was he driving,
for
a drone?
psychological injuries. So this is quite an amusing story. Nice work. A Dublin airport ambulance driver who thought her vehicle was going to be struck by a Ryanair plane as it was taking off is suing the Irish Aviation Authority for psychological injuries. Rosalind O'Neill, 43, of Beaverstown Orchard, Donabate. I've probably said that really wrong, so apologies. In Dublin, alleges she suffered psychological injuries as a direct result of what could have been a catastrophe at Dublin Airport. Ms. O'Neill told the Circuit Civil Court that on the 14th of July 2013, she had been given permission to cross the airfield by air traffic control. She had been about to cross a runway when she saw the plane coming ahead of her and as it was about to take off. She told her barrister Paul Andrew Gallagher on Friday that she slammed on the ambulance brakes, shouting through her radio that she was stopping her vehicle. She said that shortly after she had stopped, the Air traffic controller told her to hold her position. Ms. O'Neill said that she felt the plane had been only meters away from her, and that had she not stopped the ambulance, she would have been hit by the aircraft. Paul Romerill, a forensic engineer called to give evidence on Ms. O'Neill's behalf, said that if she had continued driving, she would have just passed the back of the 35-metre long airplane, which was travelling at more than 200 kilometres per hour at the time. He said the avoidance of an accident could have been a matter of seconds. Mr. Gallagher, who appeared with Anderson and Gallagher's solicitors for Ms. O'Neill, said that she had continued working that day, but 2 months later had developed psychological injuries, which included suffering flashbacks of the incident. Mrs. O'Neill told the court that she started to feel guilty for what could have happened to passengers on the aircraft and to air traffic controllers. She said she was still taking antidepressant medication prescribed by a doctor. She said that she needed to take time off work and was now suing the Irish Aviation Authority, which is in charge of air traffic control at the airport. She alleged negligence on their behalf. Barrister Paul Fogarty for the Aviation Authority said his client denied liability. It claimed that although there had been an error on the part of air traffic control, the plane had been 86 metres. Oh, that's really a really long way away from a large aircraft, isn't it? From Ms. O'Neill when she had stopped her ambulance. Mr. Fogarty said that the authority claimed that no accident happened that day. Ms. O'Neill's injuries were caused by her own imagining that she would have been hit by the plane. He said that the authority were also claiming that Ms. O'Neill had a history of depression prior to defence witnesses being called. Circuit Court President Mr. Justice Raymond Goard adjourned the case to allow a psychiatrist to give evidence with regard to Ms. O'Neill's injuries. Earlier, he dismissed Ms. O'Neill's employer, Dublin Airport Authority, as a defendant in the case, which will now only continue against the Irish Aviation Authority.
Really?
Slightly odd story there.
That
but,
was
yeah,
just a tad odd. So when you come up the hill here past
Yep.
my house in your big coach,
Yep.
and I want to cross the road, but you come hammering up, and I get scared because I think
you're
you're big.
hammering up. I'll have you know, I am only ever doing the required appropriate speed.
So when you come firing up the hill at 400 miles an hour, and I get scared because I think you're going to run me over.
Well,
your
you
big
do scare
coach.
easily.
Can I go and claim compensation for the severe, horrible
From the company that I work for?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, you might be able to contact the CPT, which is our equivalent of the governing body of the thing. I mean, you could certainly try a state from there. Yes, I mean, I don't know. I think this is a bit of a. I mean, I'm sorry that she feels like she's been.
The person who sent
by
that
this
story is in the chat room, so
yes.
thank you for that.
Yes,
you know
absolutely.
who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very, for all the wrong reasons, probably a very amusing story. It's just, oh dear. I'm for what it's worth, I'm sorry that she appears to be suffering.
Neil Braden's just said that he arrived in good time to hear a story about Dublin.
Oh, splendid. Okay. I just you do worry that you just think, it's just like, see, all I can see, this person has seen an opportunity to get money out of someone. That's the only reason
I know
this story is going to press. I'm quite sure. I'm sure I'm wrong. And if you are genuinely psychologically harmed by the predecessing events that took place,
I would have traded places with her.
Yeah, well, yeah, you would. Yeah,
I would love.
You'd have been outside the ambulance.
I would have been
enjoying the view. Frankly, to be that close to the runway,
I may have even got on the roof of the ambulance just to experience this.
I see. Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that is true. Yeah, even if it is a Ryanair aircraft going over. But,
if anyone's listening who works at an airport and drives around it, let me know. I'll come and sit side.
Micah says it's like the one where the woman didn't know that the coffee would burn her if she spilt it. That hot coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, don't get me started on that, listeners. Oh no, this is going to end really badly because I've got a real thing. It's like it really annoys me. Like, oh dear, I'm off on one now. We've got you go to McDonald's, don't you? And you get the hot apple pie. And they've had to put a thing on it that says
caution,
contents may be hot. And you're like, maybe hot. It better be more than maybe hot.
Yeah, but haven't you seen the packet of peanuts?
What, may contain nuts?
May contain nuts.
I know. Oh, don't.
I know.
It's just, honestly, it's because we have to save ourselves from stupid people. See, I don't think we should. I think it's part of natural life selection.
Oh, dear.
You know, it's like, you know, the world has a way of weeding out stupid people if they will do so. Well,
Perhaps the airline that we were talking about at the start of the show,
yes.
you were talking about your story,
yes.
perhaps that airline are going to have a wording on their website warning this aircraft may contain children.
Oh, I like it. That's good thinking. Yes, you could have a sticker on it, you know, in case they've
on the side,
in case they've lost, you know, left a residual smell or something like that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Perhaps Harpjet could have may contain paninis.
Stop it. It says Stu Black was saying, "Sorry, Carlos, I no longer get to drive around the airport anymore. He used to be able to do it. And it was a lot of fun in the past."
Oh,
yeah, it's probably because they've tightened all the rules up.
Greetings as well to Airshow World, who's in the chat as
yes,
well.
absolutely.
Yeah. So moving on to our next part of the show, then what pearls of wisdom?
I don't know. What do you fancy? Should we have some Pip, or should we?
What should we do? Should we? I don't know.
Oh, the agony of choice. We've got two choices, ladies and gentlemen. It's Pilot Pip, or it's one of the last interview that we took at Seething Air Show.
We should let the listeners choose, really.
We should, really, shouldn't we? Yes, absolutely.
So come on, chat room. What are we going to go with first, Pip or the interview with Stuart at Seething?
Oh dear, that's it. This is going to be dead. I do apologise to those who are listening on the podcast who are thinking this is pointless. Yeah,
but if you are listening to the audio version, don't forget, come and join us over at the live show. On
Owen's off, by the way.
Oh, goodbye, Owen. Take care.
He's got an early start in the morning. He's on early this week at the moment. Oh, it's Pip. It's Pip all the way, I'm afraid.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh, my God. Pip. There's Pips everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Pips everywhere. We are still going to play the Seething Air Show thing. We'll do that after the military section in a little while. But, so if you're ready then, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to settle down as we listen to... What's the segment on this week?
So the segment this week is all about taking off. Taking off.
Excellent. So get yourselves comfortable, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to listen to the legend that is Pilot Pip.
Plane safety from the flight deck with Pilot Pip.
Hi everyone, it's Pip here with another segment for the show. Now, I was wandering around the house this morning at a loose end, wondering what I should do today, and then I suddenly remembered. I thought, dang, I've got to record a segment for the guys for the show today. What am I going to talk about? So I was thinking, come on, Pip, segment. What can I do for a segment? And then it came to me, and I said, wait a moment, I can do a segment on segments. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be talking about takeoff segments. So, as pilots, when we're thinking about a takeoff and takeoff performance, we don't just arrive at the end of the runway, shove the throttles forward and hope for the best. We have to consider every takeoff as a possible engine failure case. Okay, so we have to be able to guarantee, and aircraft are certified in such a way that we can guarantee adequate takeoff performance if we suffer an engine failure during the takeoff. So what we need to do, we need to consider each part of the takeoff, and we can look at them. In fact, what we do is break them down into 4 takeoff segments. And for each of those segments, there are specific climb requirements that we need to consider, and there are specific aircraft configurations that we need to consider. And when I say configurations, I mean flap settings and undercarriage positions. Now, 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,001, things go swimmingly well. The engines don't fail, and we blast off into the air with plenty of performance and plenty of thrust. And that's the way aircraft work. Generally speaking, even when we're at max weight, when we're at our max performance limits, the aircraft, if all the engines, whether that be 2, 3 or 4 or more engines, are operating, then we're going to have plenty of excess thrust to accelerate and climb away at the same time during the takeoff phase of flight. Now, we have to consider other things as well, like brake energy and that sort of stuff. But when we're looking at thrust, when all the engines are going, then we've got plenty of it. No big deal. But we have to, as I say, we always have to consider what happens if one of the donkeys quits. And that's pilot speak for an engine failure. If a donkey quits, it means your engine's stopped working. And what we have to do is to consider an engine failure at the most critical part of the takeoff roll, and that's at V1, the decision speed, the stop or go speed. Okay, so when we're looking at takeoff performance, we always consider that the engine will fail at that point. If it stops before then we have enough runway and enough brake energy and all the rest of it to stop on the runway. If it stops after V1, then we're committed to continuing the takeoff, and we should, if we've done our sums right, then we should still have sufficient engine performance to make our minimum climb gradients, to make our minimum obstacle clearance requirements. And as I said, we divide the takeoff maneuver into 4 different segments. And the first of those, the first segment, is from the point of liftoff to what we call something called the screen height, which depends a little bit on the type of aircraft and what the conditions are. But it's generally, for jet aircraft, we're talking about a screen height of 35 feet. That means we've got to reach this 35 feet screen height before the end of the takeoff distance. And we have to consider this portion of the takeoff in the following configuration. So the aircraft will still be with its gear down or in the maximum drag position, which generally will be in the down position. The flaps and slats will be in the takeoff position, so whatever that is for that particular aircraft. So in that configuration, we need to make sure that the aircraft can reach and perform a minimum climb gradient, and that minimum climb gradient depends exactly on how many engines your aircraft has got. So for a 2-engine aircraft, the climb gradient of that first segment from liftoff to the screen height has to be positive. Okay, it doesn't matter what sort of climb gradient, what percentage climb you're able to make, it just has to be a positive climb gradient. For a 3-engine aircraft, it needs to be 0.3%, and for a 4-engine aircraft, it needs to be 0.5%. Now, actually, that screen height used to be 50 feet rather than 35 feet. I believe it still is 50 feet for turboprop aircraft, but for jet aircraft, the screen height that they have to make is 35 feet on a dry runway. Now, if we're operating on a wet runway, then that screen height is actually reduced to 15 feet. And why is it reduced to 15 feet? Well, there's a number of different reasons. It's basically an economic concession by the regulators to account for the fact that if you were trying to make 35 feet, you're going to be really restricting yourself on the payload that you can carry. Because on a wet runway, you're going to be using a wet V1, which is generally going to be slower than your dry V1, usually by about 10 knots. Which means from V1 up until the point of liftoff on a wet runway, you're going to be using much more ground distance whilst the aircraft is still attached to the runway while it's accelerating it to its VR speed, to its V rotate. So therefore it's going to have less airborne distance to make that 35-foot screen height. So as a concession, so the payload, so the performance requirements don't become too restricting. For a wet runway, we can consider a screen height of 15 feet rather than 35. But don't worry too much about that, that's just trivia. So the first segment has ended when the gear was fully retracted and we accelerated to our V2 speed, and then we're into the second segment. So the second segment, the flaps and the slats are still in the takeoff position, but we're accelerating now at V2 speed. I'm not going to go too much into that, but V2 is our takeoff safety speed. It's a certain margin above the stall speed and above the minimum control speed. And we're going to maintain this V2 speed and climb up to something called the acceleration height, which as a minimum, as a regulatory minimum, will be 400 feet above the ground. However, that does depend on the particular obstacles on that particular runway. Okay, if you've got an obstacle right off the end of the runway at 600 feet, then you're going to need a slightly higher acceleration altitude. And it also varies from company to company. We at SafeJets, as a standard, use 1,500 feet height as our acceleration altitude. Other companies will use 1,000 feet. And other companies will use something else. But as a minimum, it has to be 400 feet. And for a particular runway, it could be much higher than that. So when we look at our performance data for a given runway, it may well state minimum acceleration height is 1,800 feet or 2,000 feet or something like that. But in the absence of any other data, we at SafeJets use 1,500 feet. So we're going to climb with the flaps and slats in the takeoff position with the gear up at V2 to our acceleration height. And again, there's some minimum climb gradients that we have to make, and it varies by number of engines again. So 2.4% for a 2-engine aircraft, up to 3% for a 4-engine aircraft. And actually, when we're flying this segment in the sim, when we're practicing these things, this is generally a nice quiet time. We're climbing in FLC for our aircraft, which is flight level change, which is basically a speed hold mode. We're not doing any checklists, we're not pulling our hair out, we're not screaming at each other, we're just watching the aircraft climb. And then once we get to the acceleration height, we're then going to hold that particular height. So 1500 feet, we'll select an altitude hold mode. And then we're into the third segment of our 4. And the goal during the third segment now shifts from gaining altitude to gaining airspeed. So this is an acceleration segment. Holding the aircraft level, the aircraft will still be at either takeoff power or max continuous thrust, and it was going to start to accelerate. And as it does so, it's going to become above our minimum flap retraction speed and our slat. So as we pass that speed, we can then clean the aircraft up, gets rid of all that drag. It's going to improve our climb performance later on. And we're going to let the aircraft accelerate up to something called the final takeoff speed, or the en route climb speed. It's got different names. We call it VFTO, which is V final takeoff speed. And by the time we reach this point, we probably would have reduced the power a little bit on the operating engine. Now, generally, you operate the remaining engine at takeoff power. You're time limited. It's generally only 5 minutes you can operate it at maximum takeoff power. You have to come back to something called max continuous thrust. This is a thrust setting that will you can run all day at. It's an unlimited thrust setting. So we're going to be climbing now at max continuous thrust. The aircraft's in a clean configuration. Flaps are up, the gears are up, and we're going to look to climb away. Again, there's some minimum climb gradients here. 1.2% for a 2-engine aircraft, and so on, up to 1.7 I think it is for a 4-engine aircraft. And then it's also during this phase that we're going to start running all the checklists, doing our memory items, and start having discussions about what we're going to do now. So the fourth segment will last, if it exists, will last up to MSA, generally, your minimum safe altitude. And, well, that's the 4 takeoff segments. So segment 1 is up to our screen height, a point to which the gear is retracted. Then the second segment is a climbing segment at V2 up to our acceleration height. Then the third segment is a level segment where we're accelerating the aircraft, cleaning up, reducing to our max continuous thrust. And then the fourth final segment is our en route climb, our climb up to a minimum safe altitude. Now, all these segments still exist even if we're not having an engine failure. We still have to, in some form or another, go through these 4 segments in a normal takeoff. It's just that if all the engines are running, we're going to be accelerating and climbing all at the same time. But we still have to go through the motions of attaining these speeds, minimum flap retraction speeds and minimum climb gradients and all the rest of it. So, well, you know what, this is all pretty dry, boring stuff. If you want to find out more, you can Google it and you can read entire volumes of books and articles and all this kind of stuff. But I think for now, here endeth the lesson. I'll be back some other time, hopefully next week, with another segment on something equally as exciting. Until then, take care everybody and fly safe. Bye.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I sincerely hope that you were paying attention, because I think we're going to have a little test.
We have 25 questions set by Pip that we're going to set to all you guys in the chat room now.
Correctly, yeah, absolutely.
And if you could all answer one question right, then that's good. If you're not, we're going to shut the show down. No, only joking.
No,
we're kidding. We're kidding.
Yes, that is going to require another listen, I think, isn't it? There's a lot of information in there.
I know.
Isn't it? Great, great little segment again, as always. Thanks, Pip. Brilliant.
Yeah, big thanks to Pilot Pip for putting that together for us. Don't forget to listen to Pip's show. Take yourself over to iTunes and type in Plane Safety Podcast, and you'll find it on iTunes to download, and lots of other podcast places as well. And planesafetypodcast.com. Take you over to his website and have a look on there as well, and follow Pip's travels on there. And make sure you do go and listen to Pilot Pip.
Definitely. Okay.
What we got next then?
We've got
military.
Yeah, we've got a couple of military stories.
Military stories.
And
let's
then
go.
and then our final interview from Seething. And then we're going to have to let you go and pack some cases.
We are because
you haven't
I've done nothing.
You've done no packing at all, haven't you?
I honestly, guys and girls, listen to the show. I have not done any packing yet.
Yeah, which is outrageous, frankly. I'm amazed that her indoors, the missus, has allowed that to happen, frankly. But
she's been packing since last year.
Well, they're quite right, absolutely. Yeah. How long are you away for this week?
Only a week.
Only a week. Okay.
We're all living here, so...
I know, but I didn't actually know how long I was staying.
No parties, Mr. Smith.
As if I would do
no
so. I'm too
parties.
knackered. I'm just going to be spending the entire time asleep.
Anyway. You can have some of our listeners around if you want.
Right, okay, that's very good. Okay. Yeah.
Right. Right, so we're going to do some military news. Yes. Are you ready?
Okay.
Matt?
Yes, I am. Let's go. Let's go.
Just reading the comments in the chat room here. Very good, guys. Keep them coming. So our first news story this week on Flight Global's website, and the headline, Germany may buy as many as 6 C-130Js.
Wow.
This is surprising me because the A400M is the norm.
He's the popular one,
yeah.
Say, yeah.
So Germany has signals its intention to acquire as many as 6 Lockheed Martin C-130J tactical transports as its frustrations deepen with the underperforming Airbus Defence and Space A400M. As part of a memorandum of understanding with France, signed by the defence ministers of both countries, the Hercules would be part of a common air transport squadron to be created by 2021. According to current demand forecasts, 4 to 6 German aircraft in the common transport squadron are planned, says the country's defence ministry, which would station the C-130J fleet in France. A bilateral working group will now be set up with the aim of fleshing out the proposal by the end of the year. The move is like to be seen as a fresh rebuck for Airbus over the 400M by another of the programme's launch partners. Berlin has 53 examples of the Atlas on order to replace its fleet of ageing C-160 Transals, but performance shortfalls, notably the lack of in-flight helicopter refueling capability, appear to have pushed it towards an acquisition of the US-built type. If it eventually signs for the C-130Js, it will be following its partner's lead. France confirmed a deal earlier this year for Hercules aircraft comprising 2 KC-130J tankers and 2 transports. This is a bit of a knock. I mean, I know things were a bit rough with the problems they've had with the A400M and stuff. I didn't realise things were that bad that they would kind of switch. I mean,
people stop buying them.
The C-130J is a proven platform. There's no doubt about that, and
it is popular.
I mean, it has very popular around the world. The C-130J. I mean, there was a number of them at RIAT this year. Obviously more than the A400. But yeah, it's quite shocking for me. Well, there we go. We'll follow the story and see what happens in the coming months, I suppose, with that. But the next story on the Royal Air Force.
Indeed, good old Royal Air
website.
Force. That's it. That's what we need. It is. The next story is on the Royal Air Force website, as Carlos says, and it is, the headline is Exercise Bersama Lima 2016 formally opened in Singapore. So the Royal Air Force Royal Air Force jet fighters have flown halfway around the world to join a major military exercise in Singapore and Malaysia, affirming the UK's commitment to the Five Powers Defence Arrangements, the FDPA. Coordinated from, I assume that's Shanghai, is it?
Changi
Naval Base in Singapore. Exercise Bersama Lima will see forces from the 5 member states of Singapore, Malaysia, Australia, New Zealand and the United Kingdom train alongside each other in the year that marks the 45th anniversary of the FPDA. The exercise, which runs from the 4th to the 24th 31st of October will involve 71 aircraft, 11 ships, 1 submarine and 5 ground-based air defence fire units. The UK has committed 8 RAF Typhoons based out of Royal Malaysian Air Force Butterworth and 45 Commando Royal Marines plus headquarters staff based in Singapore. Leading the opening ceremony today, Singapore's Chief of Defence Force Lieutenant General Perry Lim said the FPDA has enhanced the cooperation and interoperability of member nations to further our collective security interests. Threats and challenges facing nations have evolved and widened and have become more complex. These threats and challenges require countries to work together to take collective action to address them. Through a series of FPDA exercises, we put our forces through their paces to enhance our interoperability and cooperation. Exercise Bersama Lima is one such example. This exercise will strengthen the ties between our armed forces and foster closer cooperation and trust. Representing the UK contingent, Vice Chief of Defence Staff Sir Gordon Messenger said, or Messinger, never quite sure how to pronounce that, it is excellent that we can provide a meaningful UK contribution to the exercise on the 45th anniversary of the FPDA. We are deploying RAF Typhoons, Royal Marines and HQ staff, and this is indicative of how seriously we view this exercise. The FPDA is really important multilateral construct, and it is our only multilateral arrangement in the region, and it is something we continue to take very seriously. This exercise gives the UK an opportunity to work with our partners in another part of the world and helps us better understand this region. It helps us to understand the security concerns in the region and how we might approach these security concerns in the future.
It's good, I think. I think we covered a story a few weeks back about this particular exercise going on. I think it's great to work with, obviously, forces quite that far away, Japan especially, and stuff like that. But I'd imagine the language barrier must be really fairly difficult.
Although their English is probably very good.
Yeah, their English is probably better than our Japanese. But it'd be interesting if we could ever speak to someone who's been involved with this exercise, Bersama, or Bersama Lima, to see just how they get breach the language barrier. Obviously, because they've got controllers and the pilots talking and stuff. But no, it's good. It's good to see these sort of happy partnerships with other forces around the world.
Yep.
So we have got our last interview.
Yes,
that we
very
took,
sad.
from Seething this year, and the interview that we took was with a pilot that
we've been desperate to have on the show for I don't know how long. Yeah, absolutely. And it finally happened at Seething Air Show.
He's the owner of a restaurant, one of the best restaurants in our area, the whole world. And Neville's actually been there. Neville's been to that restaurant.
The legendary Bounds.
He's my CFI. He's training me to fly, and as Matt said, we finally managed to pin the man down and have a chat with Stuart while we're at Seething this year.
I literally had to run across the ground, ladies and gentlemen, to go and pin him down. I had to make him come over and do come and do the interview. But it was worth it in the end, because I think we got a very informal chat with him, which was just fantastic. So brace yourselves. It's a long one, ladies and gentlemen. It's about 15 minutes long.
But it's interesting.
It
so
is
I hope
really
you enjoy
good.
this, guys.
Absolutely. So it is our very last piece then from Seething Air Show. So brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to finally introduce the lovely Stuart. Here we go.
So we've been able to grab someone who we've talked about on the show now for so many episodes.
Years.
And we've finally managed to get him in the studio, albeit the mobile studio here at Seething. For those of you who listen to the show, you'll know we talk about Stuart and his parachute plane flying
usually
activities.
dive bombing the yard where I work, actually, is the topic of the conversation.
So welcome on to the show, Stuart O'Neill.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, so Stuart, now you fly the parachute plane at ALLl Airfield, where I'm learning to fly, and you are my actual flight instructor as well.
Oh no, it's not going to be all questions about the exams you're behind on, is it?
Yeah, there's a few to do, Carl.
Anyway, smoothing over that. So Stuart, then tell us a bit about the aircraft that you fly. Then the Cessna Caravan.
Say a bit about the Caravan. That's a single-engine turbine Cessna 208 Caravan. I'm quite lucky because it's one of the newest ones around. It's 2008, so newest in a context of new parachute planes in the UK.
Yeah.
675 shaft horsepower. Lots of fun to fly.
Yeah, I can imagine. Absolutely.
It's got reverse thrust as well.
Really?
So landing a little Cessna with a reverse thrust. It's good fun.
That's a rare thing.
Actually, one of our very good friends, Dr. Steph, over at the APG show, she also flies the same aircraft as Stuart, and she does the same job as Stuart, actually.
Really?
Yeah, flying crazy people that want to jump out of a perfectly serviceable aircraft.
Yeah.
So Stuart, then tell us a bit about your career. Where did things start for you with flying and aviation? And where did you learn to fly, actually? Because that was
okay. Where did I learn to fly? Sorry, someone walking by.
Yeah. We're being distracted. See, the trouble will be, it's like a fishbowl, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody can see you as you're driving past. The big screen at the front's not helping, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah. So when did you learn to fly?
Well, actually, no, my first flight was in Bodmin in Cornwall. And I really do want to go back there, and that was back in 2006 or 2007. 2006, and I want to go back because obviously I flew with that guy the first time. I said, "Oh, this is all right, but I want to do helicopters."
Oh, really?
Yeah. Jim, pretend that didn't happen.
But no, then I did enjoy it, obviously, and I went over to Africa and did my private pilot's license there in Africa, Pretoria, Wonderboom. So that was great fun learning to fly there. When you wanted
didn't have the weather issues perhaps that we get here quite so much.
No, you had to fly in the morning. Every afternoon was a thunderstorm. But
oh wow!
But you always knew it was good in the morning.
Right. Okay. Yeah,
but it was great because practice force landings could be real practice force landings because you'd actually land it on a road or a dirt track or in a field and then take off again.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And where did things go from there then?
Then I came back to the UK and converted my licence. Actually, where we are right now at Seething. Converted an African PPL to a UK PPL, and then I did my commercial training at Cab Air, borrowed lots of money, and
that seems to be another theme I'm learning with this whole wanting to be a pilot thing.
yeah, big
it's
hole.
not a cheap hobby, is it?
It's not, no.
So how does the African PPL compare with the UK one? Is it just basically doing the same thing again but with a different tester, or are there significant differences?
Back then, the African PPL was really good because it was very similar base to the UK CPL. Actually, the ground school we did, Carl, was even more intense than it is for the UK one. The ground school instructor I had there, he was an ex-NASA engineer.
Oh, wow.
And he was telling us about rocket physics while we were doing our
PPL
PPL
good.
exams.
Yeah, really helpful, yes. That was helpful, I'm sure. Yeah.
But no, so they took their PPL exams, based them on the UK CPL exams, and the other good thing is that they do spin training as part of their PPL. Whereas now in the UK we don't even do spin training or even, I mean, you don't even show a wing drop.
Sorry, to the layman here, what's spin training? What's that?
Well, it's a fully developed spin where the aircraft is stalled, wing dropped, and then gone into a
right. Okay,
spin.
into a spiral.
Yeah,
basically. Yeah, okay.
But not a spiral dive, but a spin.
Okay.
And in the UK now, they're too scared to teach it because there was a few accidents where, because it was being trained so much, also the quality of the aircraft, to be honest, I wouldn't really want to do it in any of the aircraft at Beccles. But it's a really bad part. I mean, I was doing it in Africa in aircraft that were 40 years old. Yeah. But if you haven't really experienced it, then you don't know how to recover from it.
Right,
You talk about it in the classroom and how to recover, but it's a bit strange that you never do it.
It's this thing, isn't it? Like, the theory is nothing really until you've actually practiced it, isn't it?
Exactly. But in the UK, they've stopped the actual physical practice.
So how was the progression from having a normal PPL to flying the Caravan? Because obviously you have to do a completely different part of the of a license to get to fly the Caravan with passengers.
What's different?
The commercial license.
Oh yeah. It's commercial. It's a grey area because it's parachuting. So if it's a parachute club, you can do it with a private pilot's license. But it depends on the parachute outfit. Yeah,
Right.
Sensibly, it really is
You want to
commercial
be a
operation.
commercial,
Yes, you've got passengers.
Yeah.
And they're paying to be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So yeah, it's
And then the actual type rating itself for the aircraft is 5 hours of turbine training and then a 1 hour flight test. Yep.
We've got a question from the chat room.
Okay.
From Tony S. Oh, this is wonderful. How bad is Carlos at flying?
Whey! Oh, excellent. Oh, I'm gonna get very
I like the
comfortable for this
confidence there,
question.
how bad.
I like it. Yeah, absolutely.
No. Obviously, with my instructing, he's very good.
Oh, yes. There we go.
Moving swiftly on.
No. This subject matter
Moving
isn't over.
swiftly
But okay.
Any
Moving
more
swiftly
questions
on.
to that, Carlos? Yeah.
No, we've got a question from Neville Bounds.
Yay.
He's asking, what sort of cloud base can you operate as a minima for parachutes?
Well, actually, the legal rule is that you need to be in sight of the surface.
Okay, really?
Because the rule book for the BPA was written 30 years ago. That was before GPS was really around.
Right.
Now, obviously, we use GPS for when we're dropping.
Yeah.
So it's up to the jump master's discretion. Yeah. But the rule is in sight of surface.
In sight of surface. Also, next question. What do you think of that American guy jumping from a plane without a parachute into a net? Did you see that one on the news?
I read about it, but I haven't seen it, no. But, yeah, I do want to see that. What do I think of it? Crazy.
No parachute.
But why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have a go.
Stuart has asked another question as well. How much runway do you need for taking off in a fully loaded caravan?
Good question.
Presumably the one at Beccles is long enough.
Oh, yeah. So you can probably get off in 300 metres in ground effect.
Right.
The legal... I can't remember what the legal minimum is required. Obviously, we've got enough. We've got 800 metres at Beccles, so that's times your 1.3. Yeah, the textbook is probably 450 metres or something. Yeah.
He's also asked as well, do you have a glass cockpit or steam gauges, and what do you prefer?
Oh. Well, yeah, I've got I've got gauges on the caravan. Oh, it's raining.
It is really chucking it down now, yeah.
Steam gauges you've got on there.
I've got steam
You
gauges.
have got a few little posh bits of equipment in
Oh,
there.
yeah. There's bits and bobs. But it was the lightest caravan off the production line.
Really?
And so when they ordered it brand new and deliberately for parachuting, so they no other instruments, the bare necessities for selling it on later. No autopilot, which is really annoying because I used to have a caravan with electric trim, so I got used to just using my thumb.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I can't be quite so lazy anymore.
Yeah, but also that's why they went for the steam gauges, because the glass cockpit, while it might be lighter in the cockpit, there's also lots of other instrumentation and wiring, and you've got backup stuff as well, so it gets quite heavy in the end.
Again, it all about safety again, then, I suppose, just trying to sort of...
Yeah, because you've got double screen and there's then extra sensors as backup.
So, I mean, it's one of these things I've always sort of really wondered, because it must be quite difficult to sort of gauge, because people are jumping out of the plane. I mean, do you have to be on the ground before they are? Or, I mean, what's the...
Well, I like to rush back down. So
do you? I'd never noticed. No, but I mean, what are the... Do you have to sort of... do you have to keep a certain distance? What's the distance between you and the parachutists that you need to be away from, as far as possible?
As long as they don't hit me, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, my mission is to descend and get back down on the ground to load up for the next one as soon as possible to save on time on the airframe for maintenance, because that's what costs money.
Yeah, it's all about the air.
Tony S in the chat rooms asks Stuart, do you skydive as well?
What, jump out of an aeroplane?
Yeah.
No, don't be silly. No, okay. Don't be ridiculous.
I probably will do eventually one day when I can afford not to hurt myself.
Yeah,
when I can afford to hurt myself.
Yeah.
Also, another question as well. Can the caravan handle everyone jumping out at once?
Yes, well, it's more about can the pilot handle everyone jumping out at once, because when they do, the CAG moves rapidly, and you can get some really tail issues. And the big thing is as well, if they all gang up in the back behind the orange, we've got an orange line that's 2 meters from the back, and everyone has to be that side of the line.
Okay.
And there's quite a common case when they get all a bit excited because it's their time to come up and the green light's on and they all huddle up to the door.
Yeah.
And then I suddenly hear the stall warning going off and the
Yeah,
nose is
thinking,
going
oh,
up. And
here
I
we
look
go.
behind me and there they are, a bunch of meerkats kind of staring at the back of the plane.
Trying to escape. Absolutely. Yeah. So listen to the pilot. I think is
and even
the
with
moral.
full power and pitching forward, you're still in a deep stall. So until they move forward, sometimes you can't get out.
Wow. Have you had to
I
sort of
haven't
say?
actually been there yet.
Have you had
too
to
much,
say
but-
to like people you need to shift because?
Oh yeah. And They
presumably
get
they're
a
quite
telling off
obedient
on the ground.
They're quite obedient, are they? They do as they're told.
No, they're feral cats. They're uncontrollable skydivers.
I can imagine.
What's the future hold for you then, Stu? What do you want to? What's your plans for the future?
The dream.
Because we know you.
Well,
obviously-
if anyone's from British Airways here, I'm waiting for my gold-plated pension pilot job.
Obviously, yeah. Goes without saying.
So you want to fly with one of the big carriers?
Yeah, I'd like to. Obviously. I want progression in my career. I really love what I do. Actually, I do love what I do. 2 years now.
Yeah, but
And I-
everybody's got to have aspirations, haven't they? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's got a dream of what they'd like to do instead. I want to go and do Neville's job for a living. That's what
Actually, Neville's put in the chat room here. He's actually said to you, Stuart, don't forget to plug your restaurant.
because
What camera
Neville
you
has
on?
been, of
The
course.
Free Cooks restaurant.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
highlight there.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
best food in East Anglia, probably.
It is absolutely.
Well, we can-
it's not
it's
probably.
It is.
Hang on. Yes. So there we go, ladies and
Well,
gentlemen.
if
put
you
that
want to
on
see a
the-
really
there we go.
cheesy picture, you
There
can
we
go to About Us.
Okay, all right. Oh, I do like a cheesy picture. It has to be said. Oh, look at that.
Oh, there's
desert.
lots of food pictures
Yes,
there. Yeah.
absolutely. We
Yeah,
like
it has
food,
to be
so-
said that it is the premium restaurant here in the area. So if any of you guys, any of you listeners are in the UK and you want to go and treat yourself to a really, really good meal,
Oh, dear
go
Lord.
and
He
go and
wasn't
see
kidding.
Stuart.
That is an atrocious picture. Where did you find that? Oh,
Yeah, that was at Bungay Castle when we were doing an outdoor event.
right. Okay,
Trying
rather
to-
like you are
trying to
today.
keep in the theme, yeah.
Anyway,
I
back
should have
to the
I should have worn a
aviation.
flight suit, for today.
Back to the aviation. We have one last question to ask you
Sure.
before we wrap up the interview with you, Stuart. And it's a question we always ask all the pilots we interview on the show at the air shows. And that is, if given the chance to fly any aircraft in the world, either retired, flying, money was no object,
Yeah, you can
and
just jump in any
you were
aircraft.
given the opportunity to fly this aircraft,
Here's your type rating.
here, what would it be?
You could have given me some pre-warning.
I
There's-
know,
There's
we
too
love
many
to catch
aircraft
up.
to
it takes
choose
two.
from.
Sorry, you're allowed more than one. You can have more than one. Give us a top three. Top five?
I mean, we tend to find a Spitfire is quite a popular one.
Yeah, they're quite
Yeah,
popular.
yeah, Spitfire's all right.
Yeah, it's
A lot of oil leaking though, really.
You like a clean, tidy
Yeah, no, I'd
plane.
rather fly a modern Pilatus PC9, like military trainer, than fly a Spitfire. Because I'd rather fly something with a turbine that's got some kick-ass. I mean, Spitfires are beautiful aircraft, elliptical wing, and they are a bit of our history. But
Yeah.
I'd rather fly something with a decent engine and maybe a bit more well built.
Yeah.
Sorry,
If
for
you're
anyone who's
lis-
loved the Spitfire.
If you're listening,
Absolutely.
if you're listening, Captain Al, he doesn't want to fly the Airbus.
Hey, stop it! There's nothing wrong with an Airbus. Pack it in. You honestly. Well,
Oh,
Stuart.
Tony S. has actually put in the chat room. Do Plain Talking UK listeners get a discount?
I'm sure we can sort something out.
Oh, you see, that's
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent.
Well, Stuart, as always, finally we've got.
Finally
you on the
we've
show.
managed to
I'm
get you in
so
the- yeah.
excited. It's been brilliant. And as I say, seriously, the 3cooks.co.uk. It's and then the number 3 cooks.co.uk, and it is a fantastic restaurant.
And if you ever want to come for a fun flight at Beccles,
Yep.
or a lesson,
Yeah. Or you want to?
Yeah.
you want to learn how
Yeah.
to fly?
Wanna
Yeah,
learn.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Stuart
come
is
see
your
him.
man.
book
Yeah.
in, or come for a tandem skydive if you're that crazy.
Yeah, yeah. If you've lost all your marbles, come and jump out of an aeroplane. So Stuart, thank you ever so much for
Yeah,
your
thank
time.
you,
I know
Stuart.
you've had a
Thank you,
busy day, so we won't hold you up any longer.
Yep.
But,
All the best, Stuart.
you're a star.
And
Thanks,
I'll
mate.
see you next week.
Yeah,
More lessons.
when you've done your exam.
Oh no,
Yeah.
more exams, more exams.
Yay! Oh wow, wasn't that fantastic?
I know. After all the time, we finally managed
fact,
to get
actually-
to speak to him.
And this here is a picture of the actual Cessna
There we
Caravan
go.
that he
For the
flies.
guys
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
the YouTube chat room, you'll be able to see there is a picture
Yeah.
there of Golf Uniform Kilo Papa Sierra, the aircraft that Stuart flies at the flight school that I'm learning to fly at.
Now, he has promised us that he's actually going to come into the studio one day.
He
and,
has,
and,
yeah.
and that.
Yeah.
But as I say,
But I
we
hope
had
you
to
all
wait so
enjoyed that.
long for that interview. It may be a while. But
Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed that
Yep.
little chat with Stuart there. We finally got him. He was, he's good. He's a really good, he's very thorough.
And a great way to bring episode 133 to a close. Now, you've got a little bit of housekeeping to do.
Just a
while
little
we've
bit.
been on the air.
While we have been on the air, we're going to have to say a massive thank you to Ben Todd. I think Ben was in the chat room as well, actually, earlier. So a massive thank you to Ben Todd, because Ben has just become our newest Patreon donator to the show. So massive thank you to you, Ben. And we do obviously very, very much appreciate the donations from
much
everyone.
so,
Yeah,
yeah.
so thank you to that, Ben.
And to all our other patrons, we really do appreciate the support that you very kindly give us. It helps it helps us sort of spread the load, because I mean, obviously myself and Carlos have to put our own money into the project, and it's nice to have a little bit of help from those that listen. So
we do
thank you very
appreciate
much.
it. Yeah.
So that is where we bring episode number 133
33
to a close. It's Carlos has now got to go and pack about 1 million bags.
No, one suitcase.
One suitcase.
23 kilos.
Yeah, whatever.
And one hand luggage bag.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
And I've got my digital scales.
Yes.
Because I'm not going to go overweight.
No.
That's good.
Indeed. And as a result of that, whilst Friday night recordings are very popular, unfortunately, because of time differences, etc., the time I finish work and the time that obviously the time difference that Carl's got, because you're going to Oman, means I'm afraid a 10 a.m. Saturday recording for those who want to join us live next week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it'll be next Saturday.
Next Saturday.
Next week's
Yeah.
show will be on Saturday, and it will be at 10 a.m. Mainly to fit round.
That's Saturday the 15th.
Saturday the 15th
of October.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next Saturday,
So join us for that if you can.
Yeah. So we're going to bring episode 133 to a close. Thanks to everyone in the chat room who's joined us live this evening.
Been a lovely busy chat room.
Some of the guys we have had to go because they're
Stu Black says don't forget your underwear, by the way.
Oh, I won't. But no, thanks to all you guys in the chat room. Too many names to mention. It's been a mega chat room tonight. Loads of discussion in there. And thanks to everyone who's wishing me a good holiday. I will try and enjoy myself, especially on that lovely Dreamliner -9.
Oh, here we go. Yes, absolutely.
Anyway, so that's it then, guys and girls. Join us next Saturday for the show live from Oman. And Matt will be in charge of the PTUK studios on his own here, apart from having Poppy with him.
Yes, absolutely.
For next week.
Poppy will be pressing all the faders for me. Yeah.
So make sure you look after Matt next week.
They
in
will.
the chat room.
They will. Don't you worry about that. Yeah.
So that's it then. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. And Matt's going to go to the wide shot now so we can wave at everyone.
Yeah.
So from us here in the PTUK studios, it is have a great weekend and goodbye.